Hi there, and welcome to Let's Slow Down, a podcast for all of you who feel tired and stressed from this overwhelming world. Here we'll have fun, inspiring conversations about living life on our own terms and explore ways to ease the pace of our modern world, because life really is good when you're relaxed enough to be present for it. I'm your host, Anne-Marie Stolting, and I welcome you to this space where I hope to inspire you to slow down, because life is too short to let it go by in a blur. So take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome back to the Let's Slow Down podcast. Today starts our summer short series, and I want to talk about a book and an important question that may just change the trajectory of your summer a little bit. First, I want to share that I recently enjoyed a quiet weekend alone, at home actually, and it really gave me time and space to rest and reflect. I've actually decided this is something I need to do more regularly, at least once a quarter, to get back in touch with myself and step away from the responsibilities and the noise of the everyday. Full disclosure, I wasn't completely alone the whole time. I had my pup with me, and I did have dinner with two good friends one night, which was the perfect break in my solitude. We caught up over some really good food, and I had a nice time with two of my favorites, lots of laughs. Other than that, I pretty much rested, exercised, watched some TV, and took my dog on some long walks. It was perfect. Yes, I missed my family, but we all had a good weekend. My husband was doing something with the kids. They went down the shore for a couple of days. They had a blast, and I just needed some of my own time. So it was a win-win. So over my quiet weekend, I discovered a few things about myself and thought about ways that I can live more aligned this summer. And I really think these thoughts could only come through because I gave myself the break in the breathing room. I honestly can't even hear myself think when things are too busy and too cluttered. And that's pretty much how the school year wrapped up for us. The end of the year is always crazy, and there was so much happening. And despite my efforts to simplify and minimize, which did help, a lot of it was out of my hands with all the school and the work obligations. And I paid for it, to be honest. I was struggling by the end. I was really just so done. And so now that summer's here, I'm taking the time to regroup. And I stumbled on a fantastic book that I'm enjoying right now. I'll link it in the show notes. It's called Take Less, Do More. And it's written by Glenn Van Pesky. He's an ultralight backpacker who shares his personal journey and the life lessons he has learned through years of lightening his pack and helping others. Initially, his mission was all about allowing people to take less so that they could do more in the wilderness on their hikes. But he became aware that take less, do more is more than just a hiking slogan. As he reduced his pack weight, he realized that the lessons learned applied to all areas of his life. And a few ways that this applies to my life are taking less into my home. It allows me to live and rest more since I'm not constantly cleaning and putting things away. Taking less into my schedule so I can have more freedom to fit in what's important without getting burned out. Taking less into my mind so I can have more peace and ease and better sleep. For me, that looks like not watching too much news and not scrolling on social media a lot, because I find both can be way too overstimulating for me and my overthinking mind. So needless to say, I agree 100% with Glenn that less is more, almost all of the time. I'm loving the book, and I highly recommend adding it to your summer reading list. Glenn asks a very thought-provoking question. I had to stop and write it down as I was reading. He asks, are the choices you're making today supporting the life you truly desire? Are the choices you are making today supporting the life you truly desire? Just think about that for a minute. It's a good question. And he goes on to say that all of this boils down to your own definition of success. I wrote about that in my book as well, because we all have very different definitions of success. And it's really imperative to know what it looks like to you and what you really want. For example, I used to think that I wanted the really big house with lots of land and a beach house to go with it. And then one day I stopped and I thought that if I actually had those things, like honestly, truly had them, I'd be pretty stressed. I think about the house that I have, which is plenty big, too big actually. It's more than enough to take care of and manage, and I can't imagine having a bigger one or a second one. So I realized years ago that I need to be a little more realistic on what success means to me and what I truly desire. And also take into account perspective. And we can always shift our perspective. For someone who lives in a studio apartment in the city, the house I live in right now and my property are huge, really big, right? So it's all relative. In the book, Van Pelt says, when I know what matters most to me and I orient my life around those priorities, I experience a kind of peace and calmness that money can't buy. That was soothing to the soul just to read it. So, what would it feel like to truly live it? And that's what I've been pondering these days, taking advantage of a slower summer schedule to read the books and have the quiet weekends in between all the other good, but often busy stuff. So maybe you consider taking a weekend or a day or even just an hour to sit in solitude and enjoy just being, not having an agenda, not having a to-do list, having time to rest and space to think. See what comes up. Maybe read a good book with your favorite drink and see if it gives you the pick-me-up that it did for me. I can't recommend it enough. So for now, I'll leave you with Glenn Van Pelt's question once more. Are the choices you're making today supporting the life you truly desire? Thank you for joining me for this episode of our summer short series. I hope you can slow down this season to enjoy a summer that rejuvenates you and fills your heart with meaningful moments and memories. If you crave more inspiration, feel free to go back and listen to some of the year's longer podcast episodes. And don't forget to leave a review and share with someone who needs it. As always, thank you for your support.